now let's move on to navigating regulatory and market expansion challenges. So Ivan, when you first launched an AI company in 2019, you said you were too early for your time. Could you walk us through some of those market expansion challenges in those early stages?
Yeah, so I guess when we first started 2019, the summer, I think that's flashback 6 years ago when we start talking about like generative AI. But I think the word wasn't even there, and so we were like, are we synthetic media, AI, deep learning company, or whatnot? So that was very early. Like there was literally no market. I think very different from Gray's, like right timing, but we couldn't time it. So, but we just had that vision that someday like this type of generative AI will take off. So how we did it is we bootstrapped, with a few angels who actually saw the idea, and we just start the R&D, wait for the market, but at the same time we keep looking at the signals, like is it like going well, like it's like OpenAI doing anything like back in 2020, and if everything like is aligned, then we will just keep bootstrapping, making sure that like the next stage we are adequately funded for what we need to achieve. So we just keep doing that for the last, in the early stage, like for the first 3 years. It was like that, but that is still 2022. So when ChatGPT wasn't even born. So I think the pre GPT and post GPT makes a huge difference for us. So after that, like when GPT came out, ChatGPT like really created that market. Then we were like, oh well, we're all ready. Like we had the ready solutions. We thought through all the solutions that could be possibly integrating into the new Gen AI. So and then that market expansion was different too. So like we talking about how do we expand into new regions and stuff.
So that conveniently brings me back to Kohki as mentor and investor. Can you tell us what are typical challenges faced by startups when they sort of expand globally?
Yeah, in terms of the predictability or uncertainty you face in multiple countries, different countries have different regulations, FDI restrictions, local customs. So I think those are typical challenges we face. But I think the point is the companies that are not very successful in the global expansion, they don't have their focus, whether they really want to focus on each of the domestic market or do they want to go global, because the format is totally different. If you are trying to dominate one country by country, you have to take a dominant strategy. You have to adapt, you have to find local partners, you have to find the local talent in order to take the dominant strategy. Whereas if you really want to scale globally, it's a different format. So and those that are not successful, I think they're stuck in the middle, take them both. But if you want to scale globally, format is different. So I think that kind of strategy is extremely important.
So perhaps Anuj, you could walk us through some of the key challenges that was addressed by Kohki on the topic of expanding to new markets. And I know that when we previously spoke, you addressed these three concepts of number one, investing in first principles problem solving, number two, a lot of forward planning, and number three, investing in adequate capabilities. Would you elaborate a little bit more about these concepts?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've had good experiences and experiences that have taught us a lot. My sort of take on this thing is for people who are building companies which essentially cut across various regions. The first market that you actually launch beyond your core initial market is like relaunching the company altogether. You might have seen it. So it sort of teaches you a lot, but I think 2 or 3 key principles to elaborate from our discussion, I think a few days ago, it sort of helps that you have a principal problem solver, somebody who's worked really close to your platform ethos and somebody who understands the core duct of the company. But it's helpful to then have a 1+1, kind of model, somebody who really understands the regional market. So we followed that 1+1 approach many number of times, given that we work across multiple markets, and I think that really helps because new markets have new culture, new ways of doing business, so that's sort of helpful. I think the other aspect that I wanted to sort of add to from our discussion the other day was it's really helpful to sort of have either an investor or a commercial partner who actually really understands the operable geographies, jurisdiction and regulations and other pitfalls that no amount of problem solving in first principle, sort of thinking can achieve. So investing in that format is exceedingly helpful. So find the right investors who understand those markets is important. And I think the third thing is it's important to have some degree of expertise on sort of finance, regulation, legal, etc. within your team. So having like a head of finance or a CFO and so forth and so on, who actually appreciate the fact that there is a certain framework that needs to be created such that you're not exposing your company to unnecessary risk. I would say those 3 or 4, sort of key principles.